Hi, I'm Courtney Harris, and today is February 15th, 2013. Today is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Here in Chicago, it is a beautiful sunny day. There are a few clouds out, but the sun is beaming down and shining very brightly. Today is the last work day of the week for many. It's Friday. You may, if you're watching this now, you may be at work. It is currently 2:02 p.m. Central Standard Time. You may be preparing to go to work if you work the late shift, or you may be getting off if you work the early shift. In any event, I just want to give you some encouragement on today to let you know that things happen in God's timing only. If we would just rest and know that everything that the Lord has ordained and purpose to occur in our lives, it's going to happen in the time that He has designated. And if we can just rest and know that, and just have peace and know that He's in control, and that whatever we're worried about or concerned about, there's a time for it. And I just wanted to encourage you on how to go through things where you may be concerned and worried about it, but still keep the faith and know that in His time it will come to pass. And the example that I want to show you is in Joseph. We know Joseph was despised by his brothers. He was sold into slavery, and he went to work for Potiphar. And we can find those stories in Genesis 37. And we can also see this story continue also in 39, specifically where Joseph is purchased by Potiphar, and he gets a level of leadership with Potiphar. Joseph is a favored young man. He a favored man of the Lord, and that's evident in chapter 39, verse 2 of Genesis. The first 6 words of the scripture says, "And the Lord was with Joseph." Those words are repeated again in 39:21. But the Lord was with Joseph. And in verse 20, we see that Joseph was in prison. Now, Joseph was the number 2 man. Potiphar was number 1. We know that Joseph was lied on by Potiphar's wife. She said that he tried to push himself on her. So we know that Joseph did not do that. He said no, that this is not his wife, and he was sent to prison. And guess what? He found favor even with the keeper, and he was again, as I said, found favor with the keeper. So now as we move forward, I'm getting to the point of things happening in God's timing. So Joseph is going through all this stuff, yet we still know that the Lord was with Joseph. So we fast forward to chapter 40 of Genesis, where we see that Joseph is in prison, and also there's a butler and a baker that's also in prison. And the story goes that these 2 gentlemen had dreams that needed interpretation. Well, guess what? Joseph ended up being the individual who can interpret those dreams. We look at verse here. It says, we'll start at 5. And they dreamed, chapter 40, verse 5. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sad? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. So they have these dreams, and no one can tell them what's going on. And Joseph says to them, Do not interpretations belong to God? And he asks that they would tell him the dream. Because remember now, the Lord is with Joseph. So the butler tells him his dream, and the baker tells him his dream. And we look at 14 here. After Joseph interprets the butler's dream, he says, But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and show kindness, and I pray thee unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of his prison. So Joseph is pleading with the butler, okay, I have interpreted your dream. Would you and you're going to get out of prison. Please remember me when you get out, so that the Pharaoh will show kindness and let me come out of this prison. But we see that if we fast forward to 23, that he was forgotten. Okay? It says, yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. Okay? Joseph made a request to him in 14. In 23, after he got out of prison, and what Joseph interpreted his dream to be, it came to pass. He forgot about it. But yet, Joseph still remained to be the man that the Lord was with. So again, so we go to 41 now. Before we get to 41, the baker's dream was interpreted as well. So we go to 41, and now we see that Pharaoh has two dreams. And guess what? Pharaoh had his magicians come to try to interpret his dream, but they couldn't. Verse 8 tells us, 41 and 8, and it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he, Pharaoh, and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof, the smartest, most brilliant people that he could find it. Because, Pharaoh's the king. He's got access to whatever he needs. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Okay, verse 9. So finally, after the two guys got out of jail, they're going about their business. Now Pharaoh begins to have dreams that he needs interpreted. Joseph is remembered. So we look at 41 and 9. It says, then spake the chief butler. This is one of the men who were in prison that Joseph interpreted their dreams. He says, saying unto Pharaoh, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the baker, the butler and the baker. 11. And we dreamed and dreamed in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to an interpretation of his dream. And there was a young man, a Hebrew, talking about Joseph, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. 13. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he came. See, the dream of the butler was that of restoration. The dream of the baker was death. Okay, so 14, then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. Pharaoh needed his dream interpreted. He said, you know what? Okay, y'all telling me this guy's he's accurate with his interpretation? Get him out of prison. Bring him. Okay, 14 continues on and says, and he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. So they brought him, cleaned him up, brought him before Pharaoh. Guess what he did? He interpreted accurately the dream of Pharaoh. So what happened from there? Pharaoh restored him. And what happened to Joseph? We see, if we fast forward to 40, it says, this is 41:40, thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. So Joseph, a Hebrew, comes into the Egyptian land, and he's got so much favor because we go back, and the Lord was with Joseph. The Lord has been with Joseph this entire time. Way back before he even met Potiphar and Pharaoh, the Lord was with Joseph. He had favor. So, as I said, the title is Things Happen in God's Timing. I believe that Joseph remained faithful throughout all of this. Even the stuff that was going on bad. Man, I got thrown in prison. I was number 2. I got lied on by this man's wife. I didn't do nothing. Nobody wanted to believe me. They throw me in jail. He kept the faith. And what happened? He continued to walk in and fulfill the things that God had given him. God get to interpret someone's dream. That's from God. So he interpreted these two men's dreams. It comes true. They tell it about. They speak of what he did to the king, Pharaoh, and then Pharaoh calls on this guy to come do the same thing for him. It pans out that he's interpreting these dreams to their pleasing, and he's restored. This Hebrew boy becomes the second in command. That's awesome. You have to, in light of the bad situations, how tough it looks, you have to know that, you know what, I'm going to remain patient, I'm going to remain faithful, I'm going to remain kind, I'm not going to be angry, I'm not going to be vindictive. However, I'm going to trust God that, you know what, I'm believing for this. It's going to happen in its time. I'm going to believe you, Lord. I'm going to believe that this is something I desire. I believe it's of you. Have your way. Whatever comes up, it might be tough. It might be difficult. However, I trust you. And when you're ready for me to walk in this or to achieve that or to have this, then I'll accept it, Father. But in the meantime, I'm going to be faithful. So I just want to encourage you on today, this Friday, February 15th, 2013. Before your weekend, just know if you have a big weekend coming up, just remain faithful. Know that God is in control, and the things will happen that He has for your life at their appointed time. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.